All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there listening on Talk 107.3 FM. All of our listeners on YouTube and Facebook. Our stream kind of crashed out on us, so we started a new stream. So if you're watching on our YouTube and Facebook, that's what happened. The stream kind of, hey, technology, sometimes you get the best of it. I talked about Mother Nature earlier. Sometimes technology, you got to figure it out as you go. With today, we had a slight crash, so we all good. My man Mike back on. He got us up and running. So if you were watching the first stream, this is the second stream just for the second hour. So we divided it in hour one and hour two, which it actually worked out perfectly, might I add. But we had a crash to the stream. So, hey, if you're just tuning in, come back on in. That's it. It's the same show, same hour, just different hour. That's it. So good morning to everybody watching us on our YouTube and watching us on our Facebook. And that's why I asked for you to subscribe, because when you subscribe, it'll come back and let you know, hey, the live is back started. So good to have you guys with us and everybody listening across the capital city area and across the state of Louisiana. And as we continue to keep this show going, now because of SWAC Basketball Media Day just last week, a week and a half ago, now let's get ready to talk to Southern University head men's basketball coach, and that's Coach Kevin Johnson, to talk about the program. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Perry.
Good to have you, man. What's up?
Hey, great to be here. What's up is fall is in the air, and NBA training camps start this week, and so you know what else starts, right? College basketball practice. So this is a great time of the year.
Coach Johnson, let's start back from last year, right? Bethune-Cookman was a thorn in our side last year. Well, no matter if it was in Baton Rouge, Daytona Beach, or in Birmingham, we fell short to them in the opening round of the SWAC basketball tournament. Before we move forward, give us a recap on how the season ended and going against Reggie Theus and that Bethune-Cookman Wildcats basketball team.
Well, they certainly were tough. Played them 3 times last year, and they were able to win all 3 of those games in a different fashion. Lost a tough overtime game to them in Daytona. One I thought we had won. And then they come here in a game that we controlled for 35 minutes, and it just couldn't finish them off. The tournament, to me, was really a different story than the regular season. I know going down the stretch that, we were a little bit depleted. A lot of people don't know this. Our Iron Man, Tajon Damasi, finished the season with torn ligaments in his hand. He was basically playing one-handed the last week of the season. Derek Tisno was banged up, and those were the 2 Iron guys. They led us in minutes played. So, it was a matter of, in the end, we had the Alabama road trip, beat Alabama State, and lost a tough one to A&M, and we kind of stumbled into the tournament. But I'm not making any excuses. It is what it is. What happened, happened. And I'm excited and looking forward to a new season.
It was year 1 for you, coming into the program, changing the culture, headed in the right direction. From your evaluation from year 1, your thoughts on where you were able to get this program, and then as you get ready to move forward.
You know what, Perry, the first time you and I talked, the one thing I told you is that we were going to be competitive right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, we did that. And, for most of, the season, we were, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 in conference play. I thought we accomplished some really good things in the fall. So, I think it was a really good start. And, in a landscape where, recruiting is so crazy in the portal, we were able to maintain a good nucleus from that team. And I think it's helped us, kind of build what we have going on right now. So excited about where we're going with the newcomers that we brought and the core that we retained.
Now, as you head into off-season, what was off-season like for you now coming into year 2? Building this program up, wanting to keep this team competitive, but now build from last year and take it up another notch. Off season for you as well as recruiting. And who did you bring in?
Recruiting is, it never stops. But the minute the season ends, then, the weight of recruiting, boy, it really begins to bear down on you. And I like some of the pieces that we added. We addressed some needs. One of the things I think you do have to win a championship is depth. I think we have more depth at every position. And boy, I'm excited about some of the transfers that we brought. We explored the portal and brought in Damari Jones, 6'6" forward who probably has a chance to start right now that I'm excited about. We brought in Cam Ambry, an Oral Roberts transfer who may be one of our most talented guys. We also brought in DeAndre Thomas, 6'8", 230 McNeese transfer, who has shown signs that he has a chance to start at that center spot, which was a weakness for us last year. So the portal was good to us, and then we also went to the junior college route to bolster up our backcourt. Mike Jacobs is a junior college guard from Lawson State. He goes about 6'2", 200 pounds, but I think he'll give us some scoring in the backcourt. Joe Manning, originally from Bossier City, Louisiana, came in from Northwest Community College, and he's a career 40% three-point shooter and can play either guard spot. So, I'm excited about not only those 5 guys, but, we have 9 new players that we're going to combine with the 6 we brought from last year. So I'm just ready to get going. Our first official day will be Monday. So I'm ready to get this thing going, Perry.
What are you learning about yourself, Coach, coming into building a program year one? I could talk to you about the players all day, but what about yourself, Coach Johnson, that you learned as you're going through this process of getting a program back on track and then just taking a step back and just saying, looking at yourself and evaluating yourself?
The biggest thing I've learned is I've got to continue to have fun. That's kind of my motto. I went in with last year, and I know with the weight and the pressures of college athletics, and my thing number one is I want to have fun with these players. The second thing is, what I'd like to do a better job of this year is I've got a great staff, Perry. I've got 2 veterans and 2 young guys, and I'm going to call those guys names. Rennie Bailey's got over 30 years of experience. Jethro Hillman, he's approaching 30, and he was on the staff and a coach that I retained. And then 2 young guys, and John Tavel and Rashad Richardson, who are relentless workers. And so I love what those guys bring to the table, and I'm going to allow them to work even more. And that's one of the things that a lot of people have advised me to do. They say, hey, look, you hired a staff, let them work. And so I'm going to let those guys do that. But those will be the 2 focal points for me. I want to continue to have fun with these players and try to teach them and help them grow and become, positive young citizens and good basketball players. And then I want to empower my staff. So those are the things that I want to try to continue to improve on going into year 2.
Tejan Damasi is the only player selected to the all-SWAC first or second team from Southern University, but high respect. I was just talking to Coach Funches. His team with no players on the all-SWAC selection, but still picked prediction order of finish second. Your guys in third, right behind Grambling and Texas Southern. I know as a coach, you don't put much into it, but high regards to the way people are viewing your program headed into year 2.
The fact that the coaches and media picked us to be in the top 3, that shows that they have some respect for our program. But, me personally, Perry, it means nothing. I mean, there are no awards given out before the season. We have to play those games. But congratulations to John Damasi, on being preseason first team All-League. Again, it shows the respect that the coaches have for him in this league. And he had a really good year coming over from junior college. And, we need him to be better this year and perhaps a little bit different role.
As we get ready to let you go, Coach, man, first of all, thank you for coming on this morning. And as we get closer to that tip-off of the season, definitely going to have you back. Just wanted to break the ice, as they say, to get people back thinking about basketball again, because media day just passed. Before you know it, we'll be tipping off and the games will be going. And you guys typically have a tough non-conference schedule. And so I know as you travel around the country, as the Jaguar Nation is all around the country, They get an opportunity to see you guys no matter where you at. But I just wanted people to get back in the mood to realize that we are in football, but just what? We're in week 5 already. Seems like we just started, and before you know it, the Bayou Classic will be there. And before you know it, we'll be looking basketball tough, and it'll be SWAC play and everything else. So, Coach, before I get ready to let you go, anything you got for the Jaguar Nation out there?
Man, I want you to come, show up, get there early, be loud and stay late, and stay on those guys who wear the striped shirts. But as always, Perry, you're always on time, man. You caught me right on time. It's about that time of the year, and I certainly appreciate everything you do.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you, man, and good luck to you guys as the season move forward. I'll be right there cheering and watching, man, and I hope everybody else that's listening will be there, be cheering and watching as well, Coach, as you head into year 2, looking for big things out of year 2 of the Jaguars is getting back to what we know. That's winning championships, Coach.
We got you, Perry. That's always the mission.
Yes, sir. Hey, Coach Johnson, thank you for coming on this morning, man. I appreciate you.
All right. You're welcome.
All right.
Have a good one.
Yes, sir. That's the voice of Coach Kevin Johnson, Southern University men's basketball coach. Thank you, Coach, for coming on. All right. Let's take a break and talk some football, right? Week 5 of the college football season. Southern University on a bye week this week. So now we get a chance to evaluate the program, what we have seen thus far. They're coming into this bye week 2-2 before now we pick up things next week with a big game in Baton Rouge with Nichols. And then going on the road to Texas Southern, then it'll all fall in line from there. SWAC play continues to go. But nobody better than to talk about that than my man Jim Klein, Peter, the writer, sports reporter, sports writer for The Advocate. So when we come back on the other side, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk football, and we're going to look at what this program has shown us as we head into week 5 bye week. All right, so y'all stay tuned. Be back more to Jaguar Journal.
Darius Skelton has really had this wave of momentum for Southern.
Yeah, first-year player in this program. I love his decision-making. He makes quick decisions, particularly when running the run-pass option game. That's his specialty. He's been an impact for this offense since he took over as starting quarterback.
Well, Darius Skelton is a dual-threat quarterback. He can throw the football. He's very good at throwing the ball down the field. We're going to work on this spring those intermediate passes, but down the field, he's one of the better down the field passes that I've seen.
Play action, Skelton going for it all, has a man, and hauling it in is Hunter Register.
And then when you talk about running ability, he has running back capabilities. He can go the distance. He has the speed to go the distance. He has the power, and he has the vision. And I think when you put that with a dual threat quarterback, I think he's the reason why we're so happy about this coming season.
Skelton feeling the pressure. Skelton eludes a couple of tacklers. He's still on his feet. Oh my! Little shake and bake juke move, baby.
Being a quarterback, man, it's not easy at all. It was hard being here and having the expectations to be the starter and not being the starter. It was overwhelming. Like, I was ready to play, and not playing when I was ready to play just made me kind of look at life differently and really think, should I be here or should I not? And I talked to God, and he just settled me down, and he told me to be patient. That's what I did.
Skelton, who started the last 6 games of 2018 for the Jaguars. They went 5-1. Their only loss to Alcorn State in the SWAC title game. Taking the jet sweep, and Skelton awfully good with his leg. Blitz. Register, the receiver at the bottom of your screen. Nice grab. All who have had an impact here in the year lowing. Southern still. Skelton comes up for the 3rd time. Taking the jet sweep, he'll keep it. A good lead block as he cuts it to the outside. The fake to Ben. Skelton will run. And dragging with them for a few yards. Darius. The time, stepping up into the end zone, has Register. Flag down, catch made, touchdown, and it's actually first quarter yards. Southern 121, McNeese 40. Fresh set of downs as we begin the second quarter, and looking deep, Skelton for Register.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, we are back. Come on, Mike, you let me slip on that one. Mike, let me slip on that one. It's all good. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good to have you guys with us, everybody listening out there on Talk 107.3 FM and all of our listeners and watchers on our YouTube as well as on our Facebook. Good to have you guys with us as we continue to keep the show going. Want to thank Coach Carlos Funches and Coach Kevin Johnson coming on talking to us about their programs. Carol Long talking to us about the CannaFest happening next week, and as well as Candace Brock about the Bayou Classic. Will be here before you know it, and as now talking about the Bayou Classic. Before we get there, we're just in week 5, and it is a bye week. And so let's talk about this Southern University football program that we have seen now staggering into this bye week at 2-2. Victory at home against Savannah State and on the road last week against Prairie View, but on the road lost to McNeese and to Jackson State. So nobody better than talking than my man Jim Klein, Peter, the Advocate. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Perry.
You up and at 'em?
A little half step behind my usual pace, but I can make it.
It's all good, Jim, man. Thank you for, as always, man. You and I are becoming a tag team duo, man, when it comes to Southern football, man, because I enjoy having conversations because, you know, not like so many others, you are honest in terms of your evaluation of what you see, and I can respect that honesty. But you know the depths of what you see as well, whether it's from the coaching staff or the players, and I thoroughly enjoy reading your articles and how you break down what you see from this team. And now as we talk about what we see from this team, Jim, 2-2 going into the bye week, I got to ask you just from your opinion before we break it down anyway, just overall viewpoint, just from Jim Klein Peter's thought, not the writer, what have you seen from this team just as Jim?
Well, at the current state right now, I think they're in good shape. You win a game like that, you play well in the second half. You don't quit. You persevere, and you get a SWAC West victory out of it. And you go into the off week. You got some quarterback issues. You still aren't sure who's your guy going forward. But I got to believe it. You know, Noah Bowden will be the guy going forward for the time being. And you know, it's just because of the fact that Xavier T-Set has an ankle injury and has missed some workout, and so he's got to catch up. So I got to believe that they're gonna start to come back from the off week with Nichols, with Bowden at quarterback, and from that point on, it's going to be a game by game thing. Otherwise, I think they've got a lot to be proud of. They got one of the best defenses in the SWAC, and I think they got their special teams issues at least for the moment settled.
You know, you look back at it, this could easily be 3-1 headed into this bye week if you don't. When you talk about their special teams, if it doesn't fall apart and unravel in game 1 against McNeese, in which you were up 7-0, and now it starts to look a lot different considering what I saw McNeese do to Alcorn State last week and what they've been able to do to squeak out victories of the week before against Stephen F. Austin, in which Clifton McDowell with a last-second run and about 30 seconds left in the game and won that. That McNeese State team seems to be a little bit better than what people thought coming into the season, looking back into last year, and the fact that Southern was able to have them right there on the ropes and gave it away. And that's why when you play teams like that, good teams, you have to have your foot on their neck, or as they say, on the gas the entire game, because they'll wait on your mistake and capitalize on it. And going back to game 1, Jim, that's what we saw with McNeese versus Southern.
You know, Perry, if they had just gone for it on 4th down, instead of trying to kick that field goal, they could have won the game.
And Jim, one more before you go. It was the play that led up into that halfback run, the running back. It was just it. I don't know where I was at with that play at that moment. I know where they were going to set up the field goal, but it was the play that led up to the field goal.
Yeah, they were playing for the field goal. They did not want to miss a chance to get a 2-score lead. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. I'm just commenting that, you know, if they even if they had a bad snap and the holder had just fallen on the ball, that would have been a better result than what happened because the ball bounced so far backward that Southern had no chance of recovering it, and
40 yards the opposite way.
Right, and McNeese ran it back inside the 5, and suddenly, it's just, it's hard to keep somebody out of the end zone like that, and then the turnabout like that, that was just really a disastrous play. So you hope that they got it fixed. I mean, he comes back and kicks 3 field goals in the next game, and so I guess that they've got that. They did have another block, but it wasn't a botch like Terrence Graves said.
Yeah, you talk about that next game against Savannah State. Slow start, field goals to start that thing out. Joshua Griffin was leading the way, as you said, getting back on track, making field goals, and Southern had 9 points. Noah Biden seemed to could not get it going. Then you bring in Xavier T-Set, the hometown kid from Scotlandville, and he seemed to have opened up the offense, and before you know it, it was 40 points on the board for Southern in game 2.
I think that game probably helped Bowden and T-Set. I think Bowden maybe he just wasn't – he didn't get himself prepared for that game. That's the only explanation I can feel, and I think he got humbled. And I think he really – sometimes you say you get humbled and you don't really feel it. But when it's that bad and they bench you, that's humbling. And I think he really felt that down deep, maybe deeper than he's ever been humbled in his life, in his sports life. So that may turn out to be a good thing going forward for Bowden. And, the rest of the season may be a combination of these two quarterbacks. We don't know what's going to happen. And we don't know. We haven't really seen T-Set, in a situation where he only had a couple of about quarter and a half against Jackson State. So we really don't know what's going to happen to him. And now he's been set back. So we're going to have to wait on him a little bit. So it's, like I said, there's a lot of question marks coming out of but it's always nice going into those open dates when you got a win under your belt. Every day is just, you got a little more spring in your step.
And you're talking about T-Set in that Jackson State game getting injured early on. And I think that's when we really saw it come to a head with that offensive line for Southern, as it seemed Jackson State's D-line and in the trenches just dominated Southern that game and made it a tough day. And Jackson State walks away with a 33-15 victory over the Jaguars. That game, I think, was the telltale sign for a second, like, man, that offensive line really needs some work, Jim.
Yeah, there's another humbling experience, and it got talked about a lot in the media. And so I'm sure, the members of the offensive line coach, everybody, took it to heart. And they were better the next week, but they were really good in the second half. And Southern stayed committed to the run in the second half. And they picked up, that game-tying drive. They got a 28-yard run from Kobe Dillon to really get that drive ignited. And then Bowden hit a big pass, and then they got the touchdown. So I think the plan that Southern has is a good one. I think their offensive game plan is good. They are going to commit to the run, and you have to do that if the opponent is going to back up and fill the secondary with bodies. You got to run against that, and the offensive line has got to be able. If you got them outmanned, you got to be able to block those running plays and get those creases.
And that was the best I saw. It seemed like on the road, down 14-3 at halftime to Prairie View, and finding a way, second half, the resilience of getting back into that ball game, Jim, forcing overtime, and then winning it in overtime. And you say committing to the run. First play out the gate in overtime was a run by Kendrick Grimes straight to the end zone. And so you start to see what it could be if they can get it going. Yeah,
and again, we're seeing the offensive line has it's going to take some games. And I don't think the coaching staff is all that surprised at the way the offensive line has played this year. I think they knew they were going to struggle until they got some actual games under their belt together, and then were able to sit in the film room and dissect it and understand a little bit of what goes on. It's playing the offensive line, it's not like you block him and you block him and you block him. It depends on what happens on the play and how the play unfolds, that everybody ends up on the right man and everybody is in tandem on this. These things are hard to learn when you haven't worked with a bunch of guys like that. So, and they made some changes. I don't know if you remember, they subbed out a couple of starters for the Prairie View game.
Mm-hmm.
And they continue to play multiple people. I think some football programs like staying with their starting offensive line the whole game, but in Louisiana, I think you got to play some bodies, and that's how your offensive line comes together. You don't want everybody gasping for breath in the fourth quarter. But I think they understand a little bit better their combination just from being able to have them, have 4 games under their belt, and moving forward, they may make some more adjustments.
All right, Jim, I want you to put on your professor hat. You're now Professor Klein, Peter, and you're looking at your students, Southern University, and you're going to break them down in terms of their classes, right? And let's start with the first class. Offense thus far at this midterm, what grade would you give Southern University's offense?
Well, I'll give it a C+. They've got issues. They got to grow together. I think the running backs are okay and the receivers are okay, but the quarterback has to continue to improve, and they have to get off to a better start. And the offensive line has to continue to develop. The offense isn't going anywhere until the offensive line develops. I don't care. They could put Tom Brady in there, and nothing's going to happen good until the offensive line gets it going.
All right, Professor Klein, Peter, let's look over to the next class, defense. What grade do you give Southern's defense?
I give them an A-.
Oh,
they've made. I think this is as good as you can get a defense. I think you get into the games, you have issues during the game, but this Southern defense is good, okay, and it will carry this team. It will keep this team in every game they play this year, the ones that count, that is. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen against Nichols. Nichols is a very, very good team. This is like, they're not.
You don't know what's going to happen against Nichols. You feel it in you.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to stay in that game. But I think Southern's defense. I like what they've done. I'm especially impressed at how good the secondary is. I think it's a lot better. I thought they would struggle like the offensive line. But I think that the defensive line has played well. I think the linebackers they're playing 4 or 5 linebackers, and they're all making plays. That's the thing. Even the reserve linebackers that they put in are making plays. So, I'm not ashamed to give them an A-. And I mean, if they got a little more help from special teams, they could have claimed that. McNeese game as a win, in the offense's corner.
That's the next place I'm going. Special teams, Professor Klein, Peter. Where you give them thus far as we head into this bye week in week 5?
Well, I give them a C. They've improved. I don't know what was going on with Joshua Griffin in that first game. Something about his swing was he was corrupted somehow. They had another block. They had a blocked field goal after that. But the punting has been mediocre, I'd say. He gets a good one off. Kenny Pham gets a good one off every now and then, but he's really hurt them with some bad punts. They had like a 26-yarder when they were deep in their own territory when they really needed, something to get it out of there. They're all SWAC. Deep snapper sailed one over the head. That really hurt him in the McNeese game. So, it's C at best for them. It looks like they've gotten a little bit better and gotten some of the bugs out of that.
2 C's and an A. We just getting by at midterms. This one the teacher say, man, look, you got so much potential. If you just study a little harder and you work a little harder, you can pull those C's up and we can boost that GPA. And I guess that's what we'll be saying to Southern right now in this bye week. If you take the opportunity to work on those areas that we have seen the struggles offensively, and we all know it comes to the offensive line and quarterback play, right? And then on special teams, if we can do those necessary things, you can boost your grade up and Southern can continue. But is right now, thank God the defense not in the seat, because this probably wouldn't be what we'll probably be sitting at a 1-3 more so than 2-2, because if it was the defense that tried to hold up as best as they can, and the defense basically won it on a 4th down stance in overtime versus Prairie View. So it's good to see at least that's on that end, but there's some work to be done, but it ain't down and out. This team can continue to grow, and I hope Coach Graves and this team does grow now that we're on the other side. And guess what? It comes out. You got your hardest test of the season coming with Nicholls. So I hope you're prepared and studying, because this is going to be a hard test, but then you can't take it light after that, Jim.
Yeah, and I think playing Nicholls is good preparation for coming back the next week and playing Texas Southern, because I promise you that it's going to make them better to play against Nicholls. And Texas Southern, we don't know what's going to happen in the West. Gramblin's all of a sudden looking good, but Texas Southern's sitting up there tied with the Jaguars for first in the SEC West. So I think the schedule lines up good for Southern. If Grambling is the team to beat in the West, they'll be at their best. Southern will be at their best for the Bayou Classic. I'll say that. Maybe they have a week to get ready, so I like the way the season is set up for them.
Well, Jim, let everybody know out there where they can find you and keep up with you.
Okay, you can read my stuff at theadvocate.com, and on Twitter, I'm at Jim Kleinpeter.
He's also Professor Kleinpeter in his spare time, grading football programs. Thank you, Jim, as always, man. I appreciate you, love you, and I thank you for always, man.
My pleasure, Perry.
All right, that's Jim Kleinpeter, the Advocate. Let's get ready to take a break, come back, have a short segment, go around the SWAC, talk about what happened last week and what we'll be seeing this week, all right? Stay tuned, more to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
For the first time in the 79-year history of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Elite Championship game determines the overall champion today. Live from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, it's the champions of the East, Jackson State, taking on Southern, the champs from the West. Hello, everybody. George Johnson along with Charles Mann. And I got to tell you, a great poet once said this is the way it's supposed to be. And it is. Number 11 Southern taking on number 15 Jackson State. Both programs have won 3 SWAC titles over the decade. So it's only fitting in the first SWAC championship game we determine the program of the decade. We've got a lot of offense out on the field. And yet this guy right here, he's going to tell you this game's all about D.
It's always all about D, George. You know that. Always all about D.
An all-pro defensive end is going to tell you that. When you think about Jackson State, this is a team that is very potent offensively, but defensively they've led the SWAC throughout most of the year, and they've got the best player in defense in the SWAC, and that's Tommy Head.
Tommy Head. Get used to saying that name. You'll say it all day. He'll be all over the field. He's always around the football. He's the leading tackler on this team. He also has 5.5 sacks.
At one point this year, Southern led the nation in scoring defense. Then they ran into Florida A&M. They've got a lot of guys out there that can get it done, but at the top of the list is DeMarcus Miller.
DeMarcus Miller, the linebacker coach, Terrence Graves, told me there's one word to describe this kid, and that is relentless. He's only 5'10", 285 pounds. He makes a lot of plays, though.
Relentless, appropriate word for our third member of the broadcast team, and that's Joe Clare, who's standing by down on the sideline. Joe?
Yes, indeed. I'm down here on the field capturing all the pageantry and revelry that is black college football. Birmingham, Alabama is a lovely city. This is the inaugural SWAC championship in their city, so they came out to have a good time. I will be covering the bands, the cheerleaders, shout-outs, all of that kind of stuff. Back to you guys up top.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. You know, earlier this year, Southern beat Jackson State, their 4th straight win over the Tigers. But what's most impressive about Southern, they haven't lost a conference game in 25 outings. They put it on the line against Jackson State. We look at the starting lineups brought to you by Western Union Money Transfer, the fastest way to send money worldwide. You saw the backs. Here's your offensive line. Damon Nivens is a first-team All-SWAC member. Defensively, there's your starting lineups for Jackson State's defense. Chandler, Tommy Head, Edward Reese, pretty good middle linebacker. Rashard Anderson is a professional prospect, and they say he will be in the NFL next year. It is your starting lineup. Brought to you by Western Union. Mark Washington is your quarterback. Destry Wright, the all-time leading rusher in school history, is the tailback. Jeremiah Todd is an all-SWAC selection. All-SWAC team on the offense, and look how many players.
All right, good morning to everybody. Welcome back to the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Good to have you guys listening to it all across the capital city area on Talk 107.3 FM. All of our listeners on our YouTube channel, thank you guys for sticking with us. Hour 2, we broke it up into 2 segments, had some technical streaming difficulties, but it's nothing my man Mike cannot handle. He got us back up and rolling. So all of our people watching us on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. And for you guys that's listening, if you want to see me and don't just hear me, hey, you can go do that as well. The YouTube, I think, give you a different dynamic than it does listening to the radio, but it does not matter. As long as you tune in, thank you. That's all I can say. For those that watch on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. I saw in the comments had somebody from the Bronx, New York, tuning in. We've had from Tampa to Dallas, Houston, the Bronx, New York, Chicago, L.A. I've always seen all type of places of people who watch on our YouTube channel who tune into this show. So it's good to have you guys all over the country. So that's the beautiful thing about it. We're live on Talk 107.3 FM here in Baton Rouge, but that YouTube really opens us up to where people want to listen. And first of all, thank you for listening to me. First of all, and thank you to Mike for him being able to get it up and going. But just to say y'all tuning in on early on a Saturday morning to listen to me talk, man, thank you. I appreciate it. And wherever you're listening at in the country, that shows the reach of this show. And every time I'm amazed at seeing somebody from all over the country tuning into this show right here out of Baton Rouge and seeing that the reach of this thing goes very far. So I appreciated it. That really means a lot to show that this show really is bigger than what I think people think it is, especially considering that we are a radio show. So many other shows are just YouTube-based, social media-based, but we are a radio show on actual radio that then branches out to the YouTube and the social media. So the fact that you guys are listening to us and it shows the reach of that, I'm truly humbled and I appreciate you. And then oftentimes in my head, I said, man, ain't nobody listening to me, but never fails when I'm somewhere and I'm walking, somebody say, Perry White, man, I love and I listen to the show. And because of that, I'm humbled. Appreciate you guys and everybody watching on our Facebook Live as well. Good to have you guys with us. Now, let's jump into some SWAC football, right? Let's look at last week's SWAC matchups, week 4. Of course, we talked about Southern University versus Prairie View. Southern goes on the road, remains undefeated in Panther Stadium at Prairie View as the Jaguars in overtime squeaked out a victory 31-24. The Jaguars remain undefeated in Panther Stadium as they get their second victory on the season. How about an upset over in Daytona Beach? Clark Atlanta, who was down heavy, big at halftime, found a way to claw back in. Might I add, Clark Atlanta Division II against Bethune-Cookman, 38-37. I listened to the halftime speech their coach gave. He said, don't give up. Those guys are going to fold because they think they're up, and that's why for any team, no matter how much you up, don't give up because the other team has that fight, and Clark Atlanta had the fight. They got a 1-point victory over Bethune-Cookman in Daytona Beach. Nichols taking on Mississippi Valley. Valley with a tough 4 games to start the season, all 4 games on the road. They went down to Thibodaux and got whooped. 66-0. The Delta Devils clawed their way. I don't know how however they found their way back to Itabena. It came with a 66-0 loss. How about University of Central Arkansas, UCA, going up to Pine Bluff? UCA is a top 25 FCS program coming into the season. A lot of people talked about this could be a dark horse for a team that could potentially play for an FCS national championship. And they showed every bit of that against UAPB, 56-17 against the Golden Lions. Alabama A&M struggled the week before against Georgetown in NAIA. This time they take on a winless Austin Peay, and Austin Peay pretty much just smacked Alabama A&M up and down the field. 59-16, the Bulldogs fell to Austin Peay. Florida A&M on the road to Troy. Both these teams know each other from their old days of the NCAA 1AA tournament playoff games, and these teams played a lot, and Troy found a way to get it done 34-12. How about Lamar and Texas Southern? Texas Southern continues to be this team of we're seeing them inching, knocking at the door. They go on the road and beat Prairie View for the first time in a decade, and then they take on Rice. Of course, it wasn't quite what they wanted. Then Lamar, They played Lamar, losing 20-17. Lamar just previously, the week before, had got an FCS top 25 victory over Weber State, and then Texas Southern comes in. Lamar scores a touchdown late with about a minute and some change left in the fourth quarter to seal the deal, but 20-17, this Texas Southern team is not to be taken lightly. And then Alcorn State, their woes of not having offense continued as they went over to Lake Charles to take on McNeese 42-14. And it was the loss for them. And then the big game up in Grambling, Louisiana last week, I thought Jackson State coming off the victory, the way that they did against Southern, was a team who looked like they were headed in the right direction. Not so fast, my friend. Humbling experience going up to the hole where they don't win at all. It is rare. A lot of people have come and gone and not seen Jackson win up in Grambling. And guess what? It continued. A 41-20 loss as Grambling jumped out 14-0 early in that game. Jackson State just an anomaly of turnovers, and penalties in that ball game. Couldn't get things going. Grambling State, Coach Mickey Joseph headed in the right direction. All right, that was week 4 around the SWAC. When we come back, I'll talk about week 5, some matchups to look forward to around the conference today. So you guys stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
Watching the Southern University Human Jukebox. Click here to watch more videos, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal. All right, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good to have you guys with me. I'm Perry White. As I continue to say, good morning to everybody around the capital city area. Once again, I saw another one. Fort Washington, Maryland tuned in this morning. So we got the Bronx, New York. We got Fort Washington, Maryland. Good morning to everybody over there on the East Coast. I know that West Coast, they probably still just trying to wake up. L.A., but I see a L.A., a Phoenix every now and again. But that's Central Standard Time and Eastern, man. Good to have you. I've seen Tampa, of course, Dallas, Houston, Chicago. I've seen St. Louis, Indianapolis, Detroit. This show continues to reach areas that I never thought we'd be able to reach But we are reaching them, and those people are tuning in and listening and watching. It's good to have you guys tuning in and watching what we have to bring here early on a Saturday morning. And always, I start right here at the base on Talk 107.3 FM. The people who turn on the radio and turn it up to listen, and then everybody else who gets on the phone, the iPad, the computer, whatever you listening on your listening device. It's good to have you guys with us. All right, let's get ready to close this thing out. Let's look at Week 5, right? Week 5 around the SWAC. Big matchup over in Dallas today, the State Fair Classic. Anybody who knows about that game, it is Grambling versus Prairie View. Prairie View coming in 0-2 in conference play, lost to Texas Southern, lost to Southern. Maybe can they get back on track? Grambling won this game last year, and Grambling right now headed in the right direction, looking pretty good at 3-1 under first-year coach Mickey Joseph, Jason Rollins, their defensive coordinator, and former coach Eric Dooley. Both coaches, former coaches at Southern University. Eric Dooley is their offensive coordinator. Grambling versus Prairie View today. Grambling 3-1, Prairie View 1-3. How about this one? Alabama State on the road to Daytona Beach, taking on Bethune-Cookman. Bama State still trying to figure it out. Defense is there. No offense is there, down to their fourth-string quarterback in their offense. They have pretty much depleted that quarterback room. Before you know it long, they'll probably be running the Wildcat if they can't get things going over at Alabama State. But the Hornets going to stagger that way over into Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman with that embarrassing come-from-behind loss last week to Clark Atlanta. They are still winless on the season, 0-4. Alabama State 1-2. Jackson State on the road today with a tricky game that I think this is what we consider old-school trap game. Texas Southern is not to be taken lightly, and as we saw Jackson State last week, they are beatable. Very much so, as Grambling was able to get it done 41-20 against the Tigers of Jackson State. And now you look at them taking on the Tigers of Texas Southern. Two Tigers back-to-back weeks. This game in Houston, don't be surprised, and I put this on upset alert. There's a possibility this could be the upset of the day of seeing Texas Southern defeat Jackson State. Jackson State comes in this game 2-2, Texas Southern 1-2. The way I've seen Texas Southern play so far against competition on their level, they can beat anybody on any given day. Jackson State, let's see, can you get out of Houston, Texas today with a victory, or does Texas Southern upset you and gets everybody to pay attention, say, all right, that is the team that could come out of the West along with Grambling State. And then one up in the Delta today, up in Itta Mississippi. Alcorn travels to Mississippi Valley. I've seen people go to the point of picking Mississippi Valley in this one. Now, my boy G, who this was, and I continue, every time I get on the microphone in front of people, this is his experiment. He wanted Fred McNair gone from Alcorn State, and he wanted Coach Cedric Thomas. G, you get Coach Cedric Thomas. Here he is. And you guys are 1-3, not looking like the Alcorn I have seen. And it's to the point people are picking Valley in this game. Can you believe it? If Alcorn loses this, it's going to be rough in the SWAC for real. If Alcorn goes to Itta, both these teams combined for one win, 1-7 with both of them combined. Alcorn 1-3 on the season. Valley 0-4 on the season. Valley finally at home after a tough 4 straight weeks on the road for them. We're talking Tennessee State, right? We're talking Nichols. We're talking Murray State. They just been all over the place. We're talking having to play at Lamar. So now finally at home against the in-state team right down the road, 61 to take you up and 61 to bring you back. Alcorn versus Valley. I don't know who, to be honest. I can see why people picking Valley just because of what we've seen out of Alcorn. No offense. But the game of the day I say to watch is that Texas Southern versus Jackson State. May not be the prettiest of what you've seen in the past, but it's something about Texas Southern and head coach Chris Dishman in his first season that lines that game up to look like it could be an upset alert, and I'll be interested to see what happens in that game. As I say, want to thank everybody for coming on to the show this morning. Carol Long, who is the marketing director at Indigo, about, guess what, pushing up her event next week, the CannaFest. So if you into that, CannaFest will be happening next week, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We'll have her back if she wants to be able to talk about that. You guys go look that up. All you got to do is just Google it, and you'll get it. Want to thank Coach Carlos Funches, Southern University head women's basketball coach, coming on talking to us about the program. Candace Brock informing us about the Bayou Classic. Kevin Johnson talking to us about Southern University men's basketball team and where they headed. My man Jim Kleinpeter of The Advocate talking with me about Southern University football heading into this bye week. My man Mike making sure it all works behind the scenes, continuously doing what he needs to do. And he holds it down, and myself, Perry White, bringing it to you like ain't nobody else bringing it to you early on a Saturday morning. To all of you guys here across the capital city area and around the country, man, as always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. On Sundays, I have been doing on Sundays on the Yard Network. If you guys have not found that, go follow the Facebook. We've done a Facebook Live. My man Blue, Zach McKennell of FCS Football Central, he and I on Sundays do a SWAC recap. Well, let me take that back. We do a college football recap. We talk about all college football recap, and that is on our On the Yard Network. So if you like what I do right here on the radio, particularly with the SWAC, we do SWAC, MEAC, we do FCS and FBS, and now things are starting to be a little bit easier for us. We was kind of stretched talking about it because so many non-conference games, but now that we get into conference games, what would be 2 games to talk about between 2 different teams to be 1 game because we got 2 teams playing in 1 game. And so it'll be able to give us a lot more time. So you guys be sure to tune in. I do that at 9 a.m. on my On the Yard Network Facebook page. It's something we're starting, seeing how it works, bring in a new guest every week. So if you have not gone and followed our On the Yard Network page, please go and do that on our Facebook page. And then if you want to just follow On the Yard Network, that is my other thing. It's across all social networks, X, Instagram, Facebook, as well as YouTube. I hope you guys get a chance to enjoy that. But Zach and I do that on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. I hope you guys enjoy that. And as we get ready to get out of here, hey, it says we don't get notifications from Facebook like we do for – well, that's why I'm telling you, 9 a.m. Wake up. You're not going to get that notification, but at 9 a.m. on Sundays, just set your alarm. That's the notification. Set your alarm and say, Perry coming on. And I promise you, you'll be able to watch it. So 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning, hey, it's fresh off everything that happened the day before. Your favorite teams played. You want to keep up with it. And it's right before you get ready for your favorite NFL teams. And that's why we do it what we do. If you're able to do 7 a.m. on a Saturday, you could do 9 a.m. on a Sunday with us. So that's what it is. Hope you guys go follow the On the Yard Network. And first of all, thank you guys for tuning in every week on the Jaguar Journal as we continue to grow this thing and keep it going. Appreciate you. Love you. As always, man, we'll be back next week at the same time, the same place. Because always, it's the Jaguar Journal. Have a good weekend, everybody. What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.